Hello everyone, Sheila back again. Welcome to my channel. Oops, I've done an extra stitch there. I'm doing a little bit knitting on this baby blanket before I go down my granddaughter's. It's my usual visit on a Sunday. And I'm getting on quite well with this. I'm quite a long way now. Out of 2 balls. That's what I've got left of the first 2 balls. And I think it goes a long way when you use it. I'm not sure whether I'm using 2 strands together, whether it feels like it could feel like chunky. I'm not sure, but I'm using 7mm needles, but I think with this pattern it's a pretty pattern that sort of thickens things up. I think I could have used a larger size. I think I could have used 8mm instead of 7mm, but I'm quite enjoying doing this blanket. It's pretty quick using thick needles and thicker wool. And I think when you're using 2 strands of double knitting like this, I think it goes further than if you're using like a 200 gram ball of chunky. And I'm just a bit more than halfway through it. I think I'm doing it. I had to look up a few sizes for baby blankets because I wasn't sure about the size. I've never actually done a baby blanket before, so I had to look up the sizes, and as near enough as I can get to it, I think this is going to be 26 by 30. 26 inches by 30 inches. That seems to be about the best size for me. I've got 92 stitches on here, and I've done 6 rows of garter stitch. And then I've got 3 stitches at the start in garter stitch and 3 stitches at the end in garter stitch. And the pattern is just knit 2, purl 2 for 2 rows, and then purl 2, knit 2 for 2 rows. It's similar to the open moss stitch, but without the plain row of purl in between. You go straight from the pattern from 2 rows to the next 2 rows. So there's only actually 4 rows to the pattern. And when I knit, I do like this needle here to rest on my arm. I seem to be able to knit faster when I do it like this, but with this having a lot of stitches, like I'm saying, there's 92 stitches, but it's actually double, so it's 180. What's twice 92? 184. It's equivalent to 184 stitches, so it takes up a lot of room on the needle. So after I start knitting on this needle, it gets a bit difficult to hold it like that. And I'm not a knitter that can knit down like this. I tend to be a lot slower when I knit down like this. It seems to be harder to get the wool around the needles and that. So what I do is I just put my arm underneath like that, and because I can knit a lot faster when I do it this way than I can the other way. But anyway, I have a little story to tell you this morning when I got up. So yesterday I had a drink on my table, which I normally do, and I have a lot of coffee, things for putting your coffee and tea on, you know, coasters and that. These are all just acrylic, they're just odd ones I've made, odd bits of acrylic I had. But these were the 2 I used. One has cotton, that one's cotton, that one's acrylic, and I usually use a couple because the heat does go through these, but I must have a couple of cups because this is not the first time this has happened to me. and because of it my house now stinks of vinegar. But I'm going to tell you why it stinks of vinegar. Because when I got up, made myself a breakfast and brought my cup of tea in here, and I always switch my computer on to check on YouTube and all that, and I just happened to pick the coasters were where I left them last night, and I just happened to pick them up and look on the table, and there was a white stain underneath. In fact, it looked like there was more than one white stain on the table, so the heat had gone through those coasters onto the table. My table is I'm not sure what wood it's made of, but it is solid wood. I think it's oak, and it's over 50 years old, and it's not the first time this has happened. I had to do this once before. So I'm going to tell you what I did to get rid of that white stain. Now I've done it, I think there's a little video on one of my playlists, and how I showed how I did this once before. But I got a tea towel, quite a thick tea towel, and folded it in half and heated my iron till it was hot. And then I went over that spot where those white marks were on my table with the iron. And the first time I picked the cloth off, and you could still see the white mark, it was still quite thick. So I did it again, and a little bit less. The third time it was still there. I just knew I was going to get rid of it with the iron, which I did the last time, so it wasn't quite as bad, the stain. So I think that thing has been on my coffee table, the coasters. I've never moved them. I've been putting my drinks on there, you know, every time, and just didn't realise that they were staining the wood underneath. So I thought, well, what am I going to do here? And I have done this before, but I think on my dining room table I had a stain on there one time, and I just used cooking oil and vinegar. Now I tried that, got a dab of cotton wool and dabbed some cooking oil and some vinegar on, and rubbed that over the stain, what I could still see of the stain. It wasn't too bad. It did reduce it a little bit, but you could still see it. So I thought, oh, I'm going to try some soy sauce. That was something else I had seen on the internet about getting rid of stains. So I used the same bit of cotton wool. I just with the oil and the vinegar on, I just put a bit of soy sauce on as well. So I dabbed that over, give it a good rub and that, and here it disappeared. The stain disappeared. And I had a good look around the table in case there was anywhere else that had marks like that. And there was one or two just like little spots where I've maybe stripped a spot of something off the coffee or tea on the table, because I'm a bit clumsy sometimes. But anyway, I took it off, no bother. So I took everything off the coffee table, because I have everything, all rubbish all over my coffee table. I have a the Cadbury's Roses tin, which my computer stands on top of. That keeps the heat of the computer off the table. But I also have one of those things that blows the air out as well. That's underneath the computer as well. And then I have things like, yeah, let's put my pens in. I have that's a speaker I use for my computer, because the sound on this new computer is terrible. You can hardly hear it. But I also have a Bluetooth one as well. This is one that you plug into the, you pull into the computer itself. It runs off battery, But I also have a Bluetooth one as well. So between the two of them, because I watch a lot of films and TV and stuff and things just on my computer. Sometimes I don't bother switching the television on. If they're on my computer, I just watch them. So I have those on. My control for my television. Another pile of coasters here. Tape measure. Pin cushion. There's scissors. That's my pen for my new tablet. I have knitting needles. Ones I'm using, I just put along the edge of where the computer is. And that's sometimes there's other things. I have pads. I've got them on the settee at the moment, but I've got loads of pads that I keep all sorts of information in when I'm knitting and whatever else I'm doing. So I had to clear all of those things off the table first before I did all, you know, make sure there was no more marks on the table anyway that needed doing. And then I got a cloth and I dried over the table first. I let the oil and the soy and the vinegar sink in first. I left it for a few minutes and then just give it a good wipe over the whole table till it was dry. Got the furniture polish out, went over it, was great, come up like new. And like I'm saying, as my table is over 50 years old, because I got it when I was first married. I was married in 1967, and it would be a shame, you know, for to spoil that table because of a hot cup. So if I do any more of these, I think I'm going to do maybe double the wool up on them to make them a little bit thicker, because I don't think the ordinary double knitting is thick enough. But anyway, I'm just going to show you. I wish I had photographed this or filmed it before I actually started to show you the state my table was in. But I'm going to show you what it looks like now that it's been all nicely sorted. Back to its nice new self. This is the surface of my coffee table. I have everything on this coffee table, my computer, pens, just all sorts of rubbish. And when I saw those white marks off the cup, I could have cried. This coffee table is over 50 years old. I bought it when we were first married. But a little bit ingenuity with so that's my coffee table all like new again, and that's why my house stinks of vinegar. I've got one of those sprays of Febreze. I think I'm going to spray that around the house to because the only trouble with vinegar is it is very strong smelling and it's hard to get rid of the smell. But at least it worked. It put my table back in the condition it was when it was new. And I'm just doing a little bit more knitting and then I'll be off to my granddaughter's for my Sunday lunch and probably be tormented by Eddie and his Thomas the Tank Engine as usual. So if you like my little video, would like to see more, give a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll catch up with you all another time. So bye for now.